Margaret in Windsor. I guess I can tell by my coffee cup here, which I, when I start putting, I've got, this is the third tape this morning, and I'm not going to go back and give background. I'm just going to say what they're doing to me. I have um, allergy to chemicals because what they did to me when they kidnapped me in 41 and brought me over to Moulton, Alabama. Um, my immune system attacks itself if I get around certain industrial or household cleaners, especially polyurethane or things like that. The last year since I've come to Roanoke, they've been used on me in law enforcement. If you go back and check out my videos, is the one telling them to do it. I wrote a book about mind control, and I'll say this because people know him. Larry Flint was shot. The guy was programmed to shoot him. And while I was doing the book in Cobb County, Marietta, Georgia, Larry Flint was brought in, which was weird how he was subpoenaed and brought into Lawrenceville, and he was shot and his attorney killed. And later I was flown to his home in a political campaign. Now then, I can't put all this again on this tape, so I'm just going to fast forward to 86. I've come up here because I couldn't get a job anywhere else or a place to live. I don't know where my children are, Mark and Scott. I don't know if they're alive or dead. And no one will help. No one. I am told that wherever I go, things happen. So rather than stopping the FBI who are behind it, watch Criminal Minds. And, you can assess yourself. To me, the FBI probably kept me alive through the torture and hell that's gone on. But people are afraid to go up and attack the FBI for what they're doing, or even say a word, because the FBI has the means to come out and do a little mind control or a little heart attack on them, which is what's going on. So they rather run me, one person, because that's exactly what's going on. They run me from place to place when I get a place, enough money now to have a place to live. They soak me in chemicals. They even come up on the Roanoke Mountain or up on the Appalachian Trail and run me, kind of like Eric Rudolph, you think? Only I didn't bomb anything, and Eric, by the way, Eric Rudolph's a product of their mind control, too, just like they tried to say Richard Jewell, and Lynn Wood is the attorney, and he knows all this. By the way, I'm going to put this in real quick. Ramsey, John Bonet was part of this person's program. That was a program, mind control, takedown. Now back to me. Over the years, they have, where I've lived, they've force-fed me, and it's not that hard. I've tried to leave Roanoke, and if I'd go back to Huntsville or go back to somewhere and they've kept me penniless. Then I couldn't, it wouldn't be but a couple of days till suddenly the attitudes changed, and suddenly the chemicals start. Using the air conditioning is the best way, your ventilation, poisoning it with poison air, coming in illegally, your maintenance or whoever, they have keys to it. If you can't go to a cop, forget it. If the law or attorney doesn't help you, you can forget it. They run amok. So they've soaked me. They've soaked my bedding, and nothing. I rolled in bedding that's made me so sick that I can't get into it. I'd be immobile. So my quality of life is hell. So I'm going to fast forward now to Quality Inn here in Roanoke Airport. I stayed there this last time. I stayed there. Well, it's the only time I've stayed at that one. For 14 months, exactly. About a month and a half prior. The owners of it then were a German firm, someone out of Germany. And I survived the 14 months, even though it was rough there. But then came the Patels and the Shaws, and they're the same people. I could get into telling you what they have done to me more than that one that I put on the tape. And they say they're Americans now. They have to do what the Americans tell them to do. They've taken my money when I paid a month's rent, and not give it back, soak me, come in and soak me like the Shaw did. His last name's Shaw. This is years ago when I first started getting money. I stayed in one of his efficiencies for a week, and it was okay. I thought, well, I'll pay for the month. And I had just paid them rent, and they came in, and they bombed the little efficiency I was in, and it was a catastrophe. And I never got my money back. I was out on the street with no place to go but the mountain, the Appalachian Trail. So here I am, and I've stayed in the Affordable Corporate Suite, and I'm going to name Carl Barton. He's a retired Virginia State Trooper. His wife, I was up on Roanoke Mountain. It's the National Park Service. It was one of their parks, and I was paid to camp there. I paid to camp there. Well, he and his wife, Linda, and there's a story behind their name, what happened there, but they were supposed to be hosts there. Okay, in the middle of the night, my tent, a Sierra, which I worked hard to get a decent tent that I could carry around and would survive the wet and the wind, and, you know, when I didn't have a apartment being soaked. That night, this is '09, that night, and I'm just taking one incident out of a whole slew of them. I have been soaked at that very place, my tent, to where I got in it, and 5 minutes later I come out and I fall and go rolling down into a tree and smacked it, man, over rocks that were there. And on my other camera, I've got the bruises. My God, I'm 75 years old. And it's a joke to people around here. They're afraid of law enforcement. To hell with me. I'm only Margaret Ann Windsor, and yes, they do know who I am. Virginia doesn't care, and neither does any of the others. And by the way, Carl Barton said, his wife did, when she brought me down, let me go back to Roanoke Mountain. During the night, the tent, I had fuel poured all over my Sierra tent. And I hope this doesn't, I want this to go and you can't hear it really. But during the night, fuel, I'm talking about fuel, was poured with me in it over the tent. I came out and stood at a picnic table. The next day, it looks like they're doing me a favor. The Bartons, he's a retired Virginia State Trooper. They're the host. His wife offers to bring me down to Affordable Corporate Suite. And it's one of the Jewish owners' suites I'm at now, because I have nowhere to go unless I go back to the National Forest, and then it won't be a day till they're out there telling me, at this point, they say, well, you're old, you're 75, you shouldn't be out here. You can't give them background on this. They already know. Bob Goodlatte, the person, the U.S. Congressman, is in charge of intelligence now. I've been in his office back when he was in charge of the agriculture, or over that committee. And that involves your rangers and your law enforcement. I could give you names of congressmen and everything who know about this and do nothing. So I'm going back to Barton, the state trooper. His wife is bringing me down to Affordable Corporate Suite near Tanglewood Mall. It's off Starkey Road. It's on Overlook Drive. And she told me when they paid the deposit, and I stayed there 17 months being soaked in chemicals and my body being bombarded and immune system shredded. And before she left, she said to me, we run you using chemicals. And well, I knew it, but my word's no good anymore. And she said, we're Americans. We're above the law. So I'll leave that there. I am back here because I just left Quality Airport Inn, the Patels and the Shaws, who have every bit of this. These people should be in jail for conspiracy, for assault with intent. There's all kinds of laws been broken that should be addressed, and they should be in prison. You would have the prison so full, where would you put them? But the Americans aren't going to do it. So here I am. I was told 3 days after I was